aging, according to me, is not a fast process. It is a slow process that you need to really enjoy.
I always thought, okay, senior living is probably a luxury version of old age home. Okay, I know you're judging me there, but
When I just went and talked about the senior living concept, he just went into the room silently and then got a checkbook and told, this is exactly what I want.
wow, that's so interesting. Hi everyone, today I'm having a very interesting casual conversation with somebody who's pretty young. He's in his mid-30s, but he has started something which is meant for the people who are above 55. So it's called Senior Living Community. So today we have Mr. Kushal, who's a co-founder of Manasum Senior Living Community, which is very active in different parts of the country. So let's dive deep and understand from him what exactly is senior living. So in fact, I don't know exactly. I know bits and pieces of it, but actually I don't know what it is. So probably he's the right person to explain us or to tell us like what exactly is it. So welcome, Kushal.
Thank you, Shiva, for inviting me to your podcast. I think.
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry to cut you off. My podcast is called Work in Progress.
Yeah, when I just heard about the name just before we started this podcast, I think that's a wonderful name because it makes sense, right? So work in progress is always there throughout the life, whether we are starting or ending, it's always work in progress. And that's the fuel that we get, because only when work is in progress, we can think of continuity, we can think of the future and do something good. So it's a lovely name. I appreciate it.
I mean, it came from I was trying to find a name for my podcast. I was like, I don't know, it's still a work in progress for me. So I don't know where it'll take, or I'm trying to understand how can I do it better, or I'm trying to understand which people I can ask them to come on here and talk about something. Okay, so just like your company, it's in a work in progress.
Absolutely. I was about to tell you that now, whether you go to any companies, any startup or anything that comes with an idea, whether it's a company or today we call it a startup or anything, everything is in work in progress always, right? I think people like you are definitely required to make that work in progress into some action, get people onto the groove.
Correct. So the moment somebody sees work in progress, it's always like, something is happening.
Yeah.
So it's not stagnant. It's not reached the point where it's stagnant. Okay, coming back to the Manasum Senior Living Community, it's your company. So you are a very young chap. You're like, I'm sure you must be in your mid-30s or something. So at this age, most of the people running behind a stable career or a startup, which is a quick commerce, like 10 minutes delivery, 50 minutes delivery or whatever, right? What made you think that, okay, you should think about aging or old age people at this age for you?
I think the answer is in your question. Right? You just told me that the world is thinking about 10 minutes, quick commerce, everything is emerging fast. I think people have forgotten slowing down, right? So aging, according to me, is not a fast process. It is a slow process that you need to really enjoy. You might, end of the day, all of us know we only have 24 hours a day, 365 days in a year. But there's always a beautiful saying, right? Zindagi lambi nahi honi chahiye, badi honi chahiye.
Correct.
So for that to happen, you should, with whatever time, the restricted time that you have in life, how big, can you make your life is the most important thing. I think this thought of senior living came to me not in early 30s, and it came to me in early 20s.
Oh, wow.
I got this fantastic opportunity to meet my co-founders when I was at the age of 21, 22. So, but of course, we got this idea into, the work in progress is, I think, over the last 10 years now.
Yeah.
But the idea, to put that idea into action, it took a couple of years for us. But, I think I'm really blessed because I got this opportunity to serve the elderly generation at this young age for me.
Correct. So like you said, you started in early 20s. So how long has it been for this now?
My actual journey of the real estate started in, when I was about 21, 22 years. And it's been a 13-year journey for me overall to learn about the real estate and to put work in progress for senior.
But that's the
It's a different portion. Basically, when I started real estate, I was 21 years old. But when I started senior living, I was about 26, 27.
Okay.
So it's been 7 to 8 years in senior living for me, and then about 5 years in real estate.
So let me try to understand. So I know real estate has a lot of money. I mean, that's a very, I'm sure you must have been doing a good deals over there, right? Like, is there a trigger that, okay, I should probably focus on senior living more or a senior living apartments more than a regular real estate or something? What was one trigger point when you discussed with the co-founders or something?
Perfect. See, one trigger for me to get into senior living was even when I started real estate, I didn't want to be recognized as a regular realtor because there are hundreds and thousands of people doing real estate regularly. So at that point of time, I had a thought, but what can I value add in the actual real estate that I do? One thing I had, what I was technically doing was how can I get that, the local flair of understanding the documents locally, explaining the people about that place, the history of that place used to be, my kind of doing real estate when I used to do real estate. And then when I heard about senior living, of course, senior living is real estate, but I think it has a very large purpose in it. Correct? So senior living is for somebody, who has done so many things in their life. I mean, they have raised a family, they might have raised companies, they might have, worked for 20, 30, 40 years in their life. And at that point of time, if you are able to value add something, I think no better work that we can choose.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Totally makes sense. So let me ask from a layman level, okay? Honestly, even before meeting you probably a few days ago, I didn't even know something like this existed in India, okay? So now I'm sure there are a lot of people who is watching this who doesn't understand what exactly is senior living community, right? So if you had to sum it up in few sentences in a simple way, what is senior living community? Like, can you do that for me?
Okay, let me get to the point of where people understanding what senior living is all about from the regular housing perspective. I think that's more easier to understand. India being culturally super rich and where there is a very minimal expectation that the two generations, I think the minimum two generation in the generation that where we are today. Maybe if you get back to 30, 40 years ago, the minimum expectation of three generations living together.
Correct.
Parents and the grandchildren.
Correct.
Maybe for millennials like us, at least the parents and children live together. Let's not talk about the Gen Zs, alphas, and betas.
Yeah.
So at least for the millennials, for us, where there's a minimum expectation culturally which is set in that the parents and children living together. If the children and parents are able to live together in any circumstances, that is, they're blessed, because if they can, think of building up their career, living with their parents, if the parents are able to think of building their career, having the children with them, both works out the best. I think that's awesome. But if you think today in the fast emerging world, practically it is not possible.
Correct.
I think for the majority of the population of 60 to 70% today, that is not going to happen because of the fast moving world.
Correct.
So I think this is where the understanding of senior living comes from, where for people who have been independent all their life, and now because of the aging in place, if few things like they're not able to manage their cooking daily, they're not able to manage their loneliness. I mean, there are umpteen number of reasons that we all know for, where I don't have to explain.
Makes sense.
Correct? And if I can get a community which understands me and where I can deliver better version of myself, right? Because for the first 40, 50 years, you're delivering for somebody else always.
Yeah, you've been running around the life to make it better.
Now, if I have to discover myself, if I have to just relax, if I have to, travel for 10 days and I don't have to think of what to do for, taking care of my house, or today my wife is a little unwell and, I don't know how cooking happens. These are the few questions which starts from the age of 55, 60, which, becomes the main part of your problem.
Yeah, what we think is a simple task now becomes a really important thing then.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right. Today I'm okay when I'm at 30 years, I can do Swiggy, but how long can you eat in Swiggy? Right? So I think senior living in simplest way possible for me is to ease your lifestyle.
For the people who are 55 and above.
Absolutely.
Correct. Okay, cool. Now the next question comes. See, including me, which I had this confusion before, I always thought, okay, senior living is probably a luxury version of old age home. Okay, I know you're judging me there, but but how senior living is fundamentally different from old age home, and how do you look at it? Like, how is it different from that?
Perfect. So see, again, old age home is a terminology. If you have to ask me in a simple term without bringing in any type of community or any kind of income generation group, old age home is a place for people who are old to go and live there for with whatever circumstances in their part of life is. If you choose to go and live in an old age home, you could live in old age home. But I think for India as a country, old age home has been always where, for whatever personal circumstances in life, whether if you're not able to take care of your financial commitments, if your dependency on your further generation is not being able to take care of, then people would choose to go to a old age home, or you're forced to move into a old age home with minimalistic facilities. I mean, basically for food and shelter to move into a old age home. That's been the overall.
Let's say when you're not financially independent.
Absolutely.
So that's
when you're financially not independent, and your family is also not able to support you, you move to a old age home. Or if your family feels that they don't have enough resources to take care of you, they move you to a old age home. That's been the definition of a old age home. But I think senior living is totally opposite to it.
Okay.
There's senior living in a perspective is, I have done enough in my life. I know how to live my life. Senior living as a concept is an enabler to live my life in a better way.
Yeah, let us assume that I can afford it.
Yes.
So how can I make my life better when I'm 55 or older than that, right?
Yes. Let me give you a super simple example.
Okay.
Why people should choose a senior living, or for people to understand senior living as a concept. Let's say you're 55-year-old today. You have a house, and then you want to enjoy all the luxury. You hire a driver. You have a housemaid, and then you have a manager to take care of your house. And then you have a hospital just about, let's say, 1 kilometer away from your house. Technically, you are literally managing all of these people, even having all these resources. Just change this perspective. You are moving to a senior living. All the resources that I talked about are available there, where you don't have to manage. A company like Manasum is managing all these resources for you. At the beck of a call, you're getting your food. You're getting a vehicle to go around wherever you want. If by chance I get into an emergency, there's a hospital, there's a tie-up, there is a 24/7 ambulance waiting for you. So all these services are available at your beck of a call for you without you managing it.
Makes
as simple
sense.
as that.
Correct. Makes sense. So that's a good way to put it across. Now the next question is, whenever, from off late, whenever I have a conversation with the people or a friends or a family, whenever I talk about the senior living community, the usual question which comes out is is it something actually giving up at that age, or is it actually gaining something at that age?
Yeah, I think that's a lovely question, right? I think it's a mix of both for me. What you're actually giving up is your stress. What you are gaining is freedom.
Okay, that's the lovely way. So,
To answer your question straight, it's definitely not about giving up. It's about gaining. If in percentage, maybe 10 to 20% that you'll be giving up is your communality, your address that you stayed for last 30, 40, 50 odd years, the communality of saying hi to your neighbor for the last so many number of years, the same grocery stores that you visited, etc. Small things that you give up, but you gain much in large.
Okay, in a
city living.
Correct. In a nutshell, you're giving up your stress and all those anxiety at that age about doing things like getting works done. You're going to a place where you find your freedom, you find the like-minded people, the new friendships, and all those, and you're enjoying yourself. Correct. That's as you said earlier also, right? So let's say person A who has grown up in who has accomplished a lot of things at a particular place, who has grown up there, his neighborhood is very familiar to him, he knows a lot of people. Why do you think that they choose to move from that place at this age to a senior living community or something? Or how do they decide that?
I think there are multiple circumstances which technically help them decide to move from a very familiar place to a community. Again, this familiarity is a word where I think it does not take more than 1 week for people to get familiarized when they move to a senior living community. Okay. Because it is already a place where everything is ready for you in a platter. Because in a house, let's say, maybe when you moved 30, 40-year house, you built that for you, correct? You moved to maybe in Bangalore, if you see, I will say people who move generally from Jayanagar, JP Nagar and all these places to us, when they built their house in Jayanagar, it was still a new place. you built, you had the energy to build, you went, you constructed your independent house. I mean, you waited for that hospital to come to Jayanagar for maybe 5 to 6 years because you were young, you were able to build that entire community around you then.
Correct.
Now, even though all of these things are familiarized for you today, I mean, please don't take it, disclaimer is don't take it as a fear, and I mean something that I'm instilling a fear, but what I'm trying to tell is an actual situation today. Let's say even if by chance there is a medical emergency today, even for an ambulance to reach your place, I think today a minimum time required is about 30 minutes.
Especially in city like Bangalore.
And disclaimer is again, if you are able to inform to the emergency.
At the right time, and yeah, when the emergency happens.
Yeah, but I think, when you're in a senior living community, there's a small concept called panic alarm system, where you fell down in your house, you just move to a closest push button and you just push a button.
Oh wow.
Within no time, within 2-3 minutes, you have a army who's come to protect you.
Oh, you need not to do a call, you need not to explain the situation.
Nothing. Just
Okay.
push a small button, the closest to your place, which is literally 10 feet away from where you have fallen down for whatever reason. And within 2-3 minutes, you have an army of people to come to see what's happening.
The nurses, doctors. Oh, that's right. Okay.
So these are the things which make people to move out from an existing setup to a senior living community.
Now this brings me to the other question where I'd like to understand, like you mentioned about this panic alarm or whatever. Similarly, what other facilities do they get? Like for emergency or for their comfort of life, what else do they get?
I think it's simple to put in, I would say always like this. You don't even need this. It's about 4 important things that any senior living community provides today. The first and most important thing is people come for food. People really enjoy the food in senior living communities. The second thing, you don't have to think about your management of your house and the housekeeping. The entire facility management of your house is taken care easily. The third thing is the community engagement services, because you don't have to think, how do I pass my day? Where do I go and meet my friends? I don't have to plan it. The community plans for me.
What all the activities would be?
I mean, it can be as simple as, if a 55-year-old feels like I need to play a game of pool every day, I have my friend waiting for me to play pool every day. Or I love playing bridge. I mean, there is a team of 5 people who's waiting for bridge. This is your personal interest. But from the community engagement activities perspective, as simple as, I don't know, I mean, at 55, I feel a little shy to go to a gym, because I don't know if this is the right age. We have people at 90 year where, at a group enjoying aerobics.
Okay.
A person from 60-year-old to 90-year-old, all of them together, going and joining aerobics class in our communities. People are watching movies together.
Okay.
People are celebrating festivals together. I mean, just yesterday was Sankranti. I mean, people were flying kites. Can you imagine a 60-year, 65, 70-year-old, enjoying playing a kite?
That is so interesting.
Yeah. Why should it be restricted only for the children? Correct. Yeah.
Oh, that's so. I mean, I would like let me ask a nutshell question, which I've been I was thinking about it. Is there an option we can get this in our 30s?
Maybe if you have time, I would like to create something called service residences in future, where still, we will, I mean, there are already a couple of them who started building intergenerational communities. Even we have intergenerational communities, but these services are now restricted to only people above 55. In future, I'm sure we will start building intergenerational communities where these services are common for either youngsters or senior. But it will be an option for youngsters to take.
Okay, when you say intergenerational community, it means both 30-year-old and a 55-year-old above, they can stay together.
Absolutely.
And they can enjoy all these facilities.
Yes.
That's a good one, yeah. I think we should do it. So now let's talk about our, how we grew up. Okay, in India, we grew up believing that a good child means who is being physically available to parents as they age.
Absolutely.
How does how does it align or a clash with this senior living community? Like, do you think that culture is going away, or is it just that it's that, but parents want their own freedom at that age, or how do you look at it?
Yeah, the expectation remains the same even today. I don't think the expectation changed, but how you deliver that expectation is the change.
Okay.
It's the only change that we see today. Let me give you a scenario that both of us have parents. both of us have the same intention of taking care of our parents with us. But for whatever reason, I got a better opportunity. I'm forced to move to US. But you are still here, ready to take care of your parents and my parents. I think this is the simplest way of me explaining, how we run senior living communities.
Okay, it doesn't mean that okay you're going away from your children, but you're just being in touch with them, or they. I mean,
In fact, you're getting closer to your children here.
correct.
Because let's just go 10 years before, where the familiarization of senior living did not exist. I think every conversation between a father and a son, where the son lives abroad and the father lives, is about son asking, did you get your groceries home today? Is mother feeling well? Did she have her food today? How are you guys managing to go to that function next weekend? These are the only mundane chores kind of a conversation that used to exist between the parent and children. Today, I think the conversation is about, how was your, last week's trip to Mysore with your friends? Did you all really enjoy? And the parent asking that, did the grandchild go to school today? How did she enjoy there? Because none of these foundation level questions need to be asked for.
It's already taken care.
Absolutely.
They can talk about their kite flying. They can They can gossip about the friends.
To summarize in one line, I think senior living is a concept where it brings back the relationship between the child and the parent much closer, is what I strongly
Yeah. So now, since you explained this, is there an option that children can come and stay with their family for a month, or if they want, can they do that in the senior living community? Or
Of course. See, so let me replace this word senior living to a senior friendly home.
okay,
So we are technically building homes which are, capable enough to give a better lifestyles to senior citizens, right? And it does not mean that, the younger generation should not come and stay with the parents. In fact, that's again an enabler where, a lot of our residents' children come and stay with them for months together to enjoy. Again, if going back to 10 years before, if a son comes, mother is only worried about what my son enjoyed, what are the things that I need to cook, what are the things I need to pack for him, and how are we going out, what are we thinking of, how do we secure the house for the next 10 days, because all of us need to go out, is the kind of questions. And today, I think people, both the mother and son, that's just in front of my eyes always that you see in my communities, where the mother and son sits and play a game of cards. Because they just had a nice lunch. And
which is already prepared.
yeah,
They didn't
exactly.
cook.
And they
Okay.
didn't have to worry about.
The house is taken care. They did not okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be a very interesting one. Okay. I'm sure a lot of families visit you, to the places to understand how the senior living community looks like, right?
Correct.
So what's the one uncomfortable question they ask when usually they come to buy this one?
The uncomfortable question is same from either. So we have two sets of buyers, I would always say. One set is people who are elderly who come to buy for themselves. The second set of people are the children who come to buy for parents. I think there is a large segment of people where the children come without discussing with their parents about the concept, and the parents come without discussing
Without informing
with the children.
Correct.
That's the first uncomfortable question generally that we get is, I came, I love this property, but the fear in me is how do I go and tell it to my son, my daughter? And similar way that the son or a daughter
Asking how do I convince my parents to come?
how do I convince my parents? I remember, one of my earlier podcasts, maybe 1 year before, I was telling, I think this is a small gap that we need to fill in as whole of the generation, what do you say, relationship. How open are you with your parents? And how open are you with your children? I think this is a question to ponder for anybody, irrespective of whether you're buying senior living or not. How open are you, or how welcoming is your relationship with the next generation? Either ways,
Makes sense.
right?
So they keep. So I mean, right now, as you rightly said, right? So we don't often discuss uncomfortable topics with our parents, right?
Exactly.
Culturally, we haven't done it before, right?
Correct.
So probably I hope the now new generation is opening up for that. They have a more open conversation with their parents,
Absolutely.
and even parents are pretty
Correct.
correct. Okay, cool.
I think this is the largest gap in today's people who are in their 30s and 40s and where parents are in 60s and 70s. I think this is the gap. So I think you should start opening up. Any uncomfortable question, I think it's okay to discuss once. The moment one or two questions you ask and you get back a good answer. This is one such thing. That's all. The senior living concept is one small thing. There are several things that you hide between yourself without discussing because you feel the other person may get uncomfortable when you talk.
Okay, now, irrespective of which brand they choose, what are the three most important things families should discuss among themselves before making a decision of buying a senior living apartment?
Okay, superb. I think a very important question. The three important things today to consider before investing in a senior living property. The first one is the medical preparedness. How far is a multi-specialty hospital so that if by chance there's an emergency, is there a good hospital within 30 minutes radius of your community is the first thing to consider. And the second thing is about for me, I think personally, because running the senior living communities for the last 5 years, I think this food plays a very important role in a senior living community, because you've been having a type of food that you've been having for the last so many number of years. So please go through ask them for a menu. If there is a possibility, please go and have food if they are already operational senior living communities. If not, at least understand from them what kind of menu that they would want to prepare in future, so that the food gets accustomed to your living, because I think it's a very important role. Also, the things to consider is to ensure that what kind of community engagement activities, what kind of people are they focusing to get there, so that the peer-to-peer connection.
Correct.
These two things can be clubbed into one second important aspect. And the third one is the people behind senior living communities.
Okay.
Who are the co-founders of that particular organization, or who is the CEO or the main person behind running this community. If their goals and visions are allied, I think definitely these are the three important things for you to consider.
If I have to sum it up, the first one is the nearby hospital or medical preparedness.
Yeah.
The second one is the food and culture.
Yes.
And third one is like the people behind the senior living community, the founders or co-founders or something.
Correct.
Okay, that's well put across. Now, since you mentioned about experiencing it, so is there I haven't bought a senior living apartment yet. I want to buy for my parents, or somebody might feel the same thing. So is there a way I can come with my family, including my parents or my kids, stay there for some time and try to understand how the amenities work?
Yeah.
And how the people are there? Is there option?
Absolutely, yes. Most of the senior living communities in India today offer this short stays.
Okay.
Where maybe you can go experience the senior living community for 3 days or 4 days or a week, where you can go with your whole family and experience how senior living community works.
Okay.
It's the best way to decide.
Okay, now that comes up to the one more question, where is it just an option to buy a senior living apartment, then only I can stay, or is there an option where I can rent a place and stay for a year or something?
Yeah. Today, most of the active senior living communities offer the sale model, where you need to buy the apartment to stay, whilst there are a few of us who offer rent options as well. In Manasum communities, wherever communities are operational, you have renting options as well.
Okay, that's gonna be a good one, I think. Then they have option, right? Probably they stayed here for 1 year.
Correct.
Then they can stay in some more other senior living community.
Yes.
Finally, they can decide after 2 years that which one suits best for my style, or people are there or something.
Yes.
So now I'm in my 30s. I'm 31, right? I'm doing a lot of things, running a company and all those things. Now, at what age should I even start thinking about, okay, I should buy a senior living apartment for me?
Yeah.
Like, is there a benchmark? Okay, when I hit a 45, when you have this much of money, you should think, or it's like it's open thing. Like, what do you look at it?
I think senior living communities going forward is not about retirement planning. It's not about you go and retire there, because like I told, senior living homes will technically become enablers. One thing I want to make a very important note is India is also becoming an aging country. So 20 years down the line, you will see a lot of people in 60 and 70-year-old actively working in companies. And it has already started. So not necessary that you go and buy a senior living home to go and retire there.
Okay.
Even when you're actively working in your 50s and 60s and 70s, you move to senior living homes because it's a enabler for your lifestyle. So I think the right age to think of senior living is 50.
50.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
To own it.
Okay.
To own it. And as an investment, there is no bar.
You can
even
you can buy a
even a 30-year-old can definitely invest in a senior living home and rent it out to a senior citizen who would want to come and stay there.
yeah. Correct. Now I have a complaint about your Instagram or whatever. I keep seeing that, like there are a lot of people asking location. So can you just tell people that which are the locations you guys are present and what's your
Absolutely.
future plans?
Yeah, I think we need to do some auto DM model where we create an immediate auto reply with our website link, because our website has the information of all the locations. But quickly, we are currently present. Our operational communities are present in Bangalore and Goa.
Okay.
We have 4 operational communities in Bangalore. We have one in South Bangalore, which is called Manasum Avigna. We have one in North Bangalore, very close to airport, which is Banyan. The third one off Tumkur Road is Riva. And the fourth one is Suvidha, which is in Kanakpura Road. So these are the 4 operational communities we have in Bangalore. And we have Ikigai, which is operational in Goa. So these are the 5 ones which are currently operational. We have about 800 plus homes which are operational with Manasum. We are soon launching in Mysore, Chennai, Tirupati, and Pune. These are the 4 launches we will have in the next 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you have to buy one for your parents, which property would you choose and why?
I don't know. I think it's, again, end of the day, a choice for parents, because when we consider building a senior living community for Manasum, we ensure that all the things, irrespective of whichever place that we go and build, a hospital close by, the mobility to the place, and a good climate. These are the 3 things which we definitely consider before we
Buying one for that's your personal.
build a senior living community.
Yeah.
So of course, when I'm doing that, the first thing to consider: can my parents come and live here, right?
Correct.
So
that's a correct answer. I think when you get answers to that, then obviously you're comfortable to put your parents over there.
Absolutely.
Also. By the way, who are your co-founders?
So my co-founders are Anatram and Sumati. So whose work experience is more than my age today.
Wow.
So I think it's a super awesome combination between 3 of us, where we are building this Manasum not just as a startup. I think it's built by people who are experienced, and also somebody who has a vigor to take this to the next level.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, Kushal. Now, I have a list of questions which I got from the people when I put on my social media that, okay, I'm going to do this. A lot of people send me these questions. So now I wanted to answer this very crisply and probably very shortly so that people can understand it better. Okay?
Okay, let me try.
Cool. It's okay. Was there a moment at Manasum when you realized this is more than a business?
I think even when I started this whole concept, I never thought this as a business, because it's purpose driven.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, has any resident story at Manasum stayed with you till today?
I think the first one always remains to the last. There are plenty of them after that. But the first sale that I did, when I also heard about the senior living concept, I had just then sold a 1.5 crore house to a person who just retired from a very big institution, research institution. When I just went and talked about the senior living concept, he just went into the room silently and then got a checkbook and told, "This is exactly what I want."
Wow, that's so interesting. So, what is one Manasum moment that made you feel truly proud?
One Manasum moment that always make us feel proud is, there are plenty of businesses in the world where you can make money. Manasum business is one such where you can, openly tell that you can make money, but you get blessings with that.
Oh, lovely. So now many people believe senior living means loneliness. Is that true?
It's exactly the opposite, right? Senior living means coming out of loneliness.
Okay. Do parents actually feel abandoned when families choose senior living? Like kids left them behind or something like that?
Like I always tell, the seniors or the parents feel much more energized, and they feel more comfortable, safe, and secure when they move to a senior living home. They definitely do not feel abandoned.
Correct. Is senior living only for elders who are sick or dependent?
Well, I think there's a confusion in this because senior living is a very broad word, or elder care is a very broad word. Today, we spoke about more independent living communities. There are several segments where you have assisted living, palliative care, care continuum, and then out of hospital care, and many things. So, people should maybe do a little more research of these parts of senior living, and they
Oh,
will
it's
get an answer
not for the
easily.
only sick or dependent, it's for everyone.
Definitely.
Okay. Now, why do people assume senior living feels like a hospital?
Yeah, it's I think taking cues from the previous question that people confuse the independent senior living facilities to a hospice care or a palliative care, where it is more like a hospital. But independent senior living facilities are more fun.
Okay. Do children stop visiting once parents move into the senior living?
That's a myth. The children start visiting more often because they would love to spend more time with parents.
Okay. Now, this is from more psychological perspective.
Yeah.
So, can senior living actually improve mental health and happiness?
Of course, definitely yes. In my future podcasts, I will bring in examples and share how people's mental health, happiness, and then physical health have improved. I will give you specific examples as well.
Oh, lovely. So now this is very interesting one again. Is senior living only for the wealthy, or is that a misconception?
It's total misconception. I think people who plan their finances well, senior living is for them.
Okay. Now the last one. If you could break one myth about senior living today, what would it be?
Biggest myth about senior living is that old age home myth. Please break that. Senior living is not old age home. Senior living is a better than the house that you're currently living today.
Okay. That's the one. That's good. Okay, I'm done with all of my questions, and he answered them very promptly. And I think that clarifies a lot of confusions which we had about senior living. Thank you.